Well, it's nice to see the sun again. It's been days and days and days of heavy rain, and I am just out in the yard tickled with this new container I made. A couple weeks ago I had put in an Impatient from Lowe's. It was on the clearance section and it didn't look like much, but look at what's happened just in about 2.5 weeks. That's pretty amazing. And I decided to tuck in a dark star coleus from my local garden center. Isn't that pretty? It's almost black, guys. I think it's a really striking contrast, and I'm excited to see how that grows and fills out together. I think it's a striking combination. We're in a shaded area here, but these are some geraniums I grew from seed. And at first I was disappointed they came out red. They were supposed to be violet. And then when the flowers matured, it got this really neon violet hue on part of the leaves. So it's kind of a red violet. And it's just really exquisite. And the funny thing is, some of the seeds didn't grow like this. Some of them were just a plain pink. So, and then some of them were red. So I had some that were pink, some were red, and then 2 that were like this. And I think this is really gorgeous. I hope it comes across in this lighting, but it's definitely got violet on it. And I think that pairs well with my purple alyssum. Isn't that beautiful, guys? You know how much I love alyssum. And my grapevine, which I've had planted here probably for 4 years, is covered with little sets of grapes. It looks like they're going to be green grapes. But I am excited about that. We should get several batches. Aren't they cute, guys? They're actually looking like bunches of grapes. Just wonderful. Can't wait to taste those. I have no idea whether they're seedless or not. But this was originally a small plant from Home Depot. Aren't they great? This bed over here, this raised bed that I made out of my homemade compost, has just become a jungle. It's obviously nutrient-dense material, and as a bonus, from the compost, it looks like we have a pumpkin vine. And I just noticed this morning that it might be starting to put out some female flowers. So hopefully if those get fertilized, we will have a couple of pumpkins. Looks like 2 here. And also I have to hope that none of my rabbits or any little creatures in the garden eat it before it starts to mature. But isn't that amazing, guys? Not only is this bed supporting what I planted in it, it gave me this bonus gigantic pumpkin vine. So it'll be a mystery until it grows bigger, and hopefully it will. It'll be a mystery as to what that is. But let me show you how much the soil level has dropped. It's dropped about 6 inches. Meanwhile, the carrots have gone crazy as well. And I do have lots of beans in here. It's these nice yellow beans, which I'll be picking. They have to get a little bit brighter, but they're nice and slender. But it's full of beans. It's full of these carrots which are developing, and it is covered, it is bursting with all these tomatoes which are setting fruit, and they're actually falling over. But I just can't believe the abundance from this raised bed that I made myself. It's just amazing what this is going to produce. And it's just wonderful because the whole thing was done from seeds and a couple of little marigold plants, but those have been overtaken. I hope they survive into the fall. We'll see. My vegetable garden is growing like gangbusters. I'm particularly excited over here about my Cushaw squash. I've never grown them before. I discovered it was a vining plant, so I went ahead and put a trellis behind it, but it's outgrowing the trellis. But again, seems to be putting on some fruit. Let's see if I can show you. And it looks like I have to make sure that that gets pollinated. But everything here is lush after the rains. I've put some of my geraniums that don't necessarily match up on the deck. Some of these are more red and scarlet. And on the deck I wanted to do pink and purple and white. So they've come up here. But look at the growth on all these. This is a beefsteak tomato doing very well in a container. I just keep pouring more and more natural fertilizer and compost from my pile. And things are doing great, guys. This year I've decided to add a lot of flowers into the vegetable garden. I think it brings in a lot of bees and pollinators. They come and visit the flowers, and then while they're here they pollinate the vegetable flowers as well. And I did want to show you, I've got these beautiful pink geraniums here next to my peppers. I do think it helps with pests as well, because geraniums are quite scented. But I've got lots of banana peppers here growing. And once they turn yellow, I'm going to pick them and put some jalapeno cheese sticks in those and put them on the grill. I think that'll be a good way to eat them. But I'm really excited. These pepper plants have really taken off. They love the heat. So I grew them very early and I put them out very early, and now they're really taking off. It's the heat that does it. I've also put in some of my seed-grown marigolds. So those are a pretty pop of orange. Those are little French marigolds, so I love those. And my zucchinis continue to get very big. I have taller marigolds next to those. Looks like they're putting out some buds, but they're also a nice deterrent to some of those squash bugs, I think. And I just throw the blooms right back in there as fertilizer, the spent blooms from the zucchini. But I've gotten quite a few zucchini to use from these. And even my one on the end, which was in the shade for too long, is starting to fruit up. So I'm excited about that. I'm really loving this corner right now. I've got a gorgeous pink hydrangea there, and the variegated hosta with the beautiful bell-shaped lavender blooms, and my spider plants are looking great after all the rain we've gotten. So the pink garden is really looking terrific. And I recently did this. I had a pillar that I bought at the end of the season last year at Lowe's. It's actually a base to a bird bath, and the top had been broken, I suppose, but they were selling these pillars for about $5. So I decided to put my pink amulary statue on top. I think it really adds a lot to my pink garden. Really happy about that. Wishing I had picked up a couple more of those bird bath bases. So this garden is looking beautiful, and it's quite shady in the seating area. So it's a nice place to come on a hot day. And this is my herb garden, and some of them are doing better than others. I do have a sedum in there, which I also Chelsea chopped. And I've got some more going up this hill, up to my path, which takes me to my polytunnel and vegetable garden area. So I wish I knew the name of these so I could share it with you, but they're really gorgeous. I got them from Lowe's a couple years ago, but they're just starting to gain some size, so I'm really excited about that. But they're the loveliest pink, and I'm used to seeing blue hydrangeas, so I think that's a real treat. And these were yellow blooms. I think they're tall primrose, and they always make these seed heads and drop millions of seed and reseed themselves every year. So I will be pulling those out once they reseed, because they do get kind of scraggly. But they're pretty reliable. Every year they return. I ended up doing a Chelsea chop on all of my sedums, and I got several more pots of cuttings, and they've all taken. I did this right before all the rainstorms, so it was actually perfect timing to do it. I won't have to water these at all. They don't like lots of water, but as cuttings, you know, if they get some nice water in the beginning, it's a good idea. So I think those will take. And look at the variegation on this beautiful euonymus. I love it. Looks so pretty. I have two of them back here under my pine tree. I decided to redo my spilling container, and in it I have put marigolds that I grew from seed. They were the dollar store seeds, so they're about 30 cents for a packet. And I successfully grew some beautiful yellow marigolds. And then from last year, I had some beautiful pink geraniums saved over. And they're just getting their footings in there. They'll grow bigger. And then I also had some seed-grown alyssum in another pot that I moved over here. So I've got the purple and the pink and the yellow in this container, and it's a combination I'm absolutely loving. And of course, I'm absolutely loving this style of marigold. They're just beautiful. The structure of the marigold's gorgeous, and the color is kind of a greenish yellow. Not sure if that shows up, but this container gets plenty of sun. It's in the shade at the moment just because the sun is overhead, but it gets a lot of sun in the morning and a lot of sun in the afternoon. And I'm thrilled. This spot has been kind of a dead spot in my garden for a while, and this pop of color really adds a lot. As you can see, it's in front of this garden here, which is right next to this beautiful patch of hostas. I took my Sweet William, which had the flowers had all died back, and dropped some seed, and I went ahead and I split up the plants on this side and down at the end, so it's looking very neat. And I just kind of spread out the plantlets, and I think it's looking quite neat. I think it's going to really help the plant continue to thrive year after year. And so this set of plants will bloom next year, and the seeds that fell will bloom the following year. So that's how it works. They're basically biennials. They do also send out runners, I noticed, which all of these were. So that was a huge chore, but I did that right before the rain. And I've added a green bowling ball here. And I have my purple one, which you've seen. And I replaced the red one with a blue one that I found. All these bowling balls were about $5 or $6 in the thrift shop. But I think it's kind of giving it the look of a Chihuly garden. I just think it's a really easy, fun way to add some interest to your garden and some color. And it looks like my Agastache has put out a few flowers, so hopefully the hummingbirds and butterflies will find it. I think my new favorite flower is the Verbena bonariensis, and it has these tall, wispy flowers in a bright purple. And my friend Lori gave me this plant from her garden. Isn't that beautiful, guys? But what I love about it is you can put it anywhere. You can put it on the edge of your border, your flower bed, or in the middle because it's tall. But it's a see-through, ethereal look. So it doesn't matter if it's in the front of the bed because you can still see through it. But this happened to be an open spot, so I popped that in. But I hope you can see that. It's a little bit immature now, but the flowers just blow in the breeze, and they have these magical structures to them. It's just a magical looking structure. Really gorgeous. Really a gorgeous plant, and a very narrow leaf, as you can see. So it's a narrow leaf, tall plant with flowers that just blow in the breeze, and I'm gonna love that. I'm definitely gonna take some more cuttings of that next year and spread it throughout my garden. These were seeds that volunteered in a pot. These are some coleus from last year. So I didn't get quite as many coleus this year. Aren't they beautiful? As I usually get, but I do have at least 3 varieties in the garden. And it may warrant another trip to the garden center and see what other coleuses I might like. My Blushing Bride hydrangeas are bulking up a little bit this year. I did put some of my weed brew on it. And the one at the end, which probably gets the most sun, is the one that's putting out some gorgeous blooms. And it truly does have a little blush to it. Not sure if it's going to come across on camera, but they're white with just a touch of blush on some of those leaves. And it may fade to more of a pink. But isn't that beautiful, guys? So I'm pleased to show you these are doing well. These were the hydrangeas that I split into 4. And 3 of them survived, and they're here. Hopefully creating a beautiful hedge. But they seem to have taken really well, and I'm pleased to see that this one is in bloom. All of my elephant ear bulbs came up, and now they're getting glorious. Now that the summer is starting to heat up, they're a tropical plant, and they really appreciate the heat. So all of these, I think they're colocasia bulbs, were given to me by my friend Lori. She shared them with me, and she always shares more and more every year. And this is a lemon lime coleus cutting from last year. So this was a really gorgeous bright one, kind of a chartreuse color, and it's not doing that well, but it's coming along. At least they're living. But that is another type of coleus I have, and hopefully that'll grow a lot bigger under the elephant ear plants. Here's another container with some elephant ears, and these are enormous. They're kind of nestled into the miscanthus grass there, but they're going to get absolutely huge, I can tell. And my zinnia garden is finally starting to produce some flowers. It has looked like nothing for a very long time, but again, with a little bit of heat and lots of rain, some of the zinnias have started producing flowers. Once I cut from those, once they get a little taller, I'll be able to cut from them, and that'll make them bulk out into a more bushy format. But I'm always thrilled when I start to see zinnias in the garden. That really makes it feel like summer. They're so gorgeous. The colors just pop. So hopefully there'll be a lot more to show with this garden. And I want to thank you so much for visiting the garden with me today, letting me talk about my garden with you. And I hope you're out enjoying sunshine in your garden today. I'll see you next time.